Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Rob Munro, all the way from the USA, Canada. His headquarters is based in Chicago, Illinois, but he stays in Canada, British Columbia. We've been working with Mr. Rob Munro, or AERA, for many a year, and by now I've toured with him twice, and I can by now call him my friend as well. He's a magnificent person. He's well informed. He's well versed on a lot of technical topics. So on that point, I give over to Mr. Rob Munro.
Well, hello everybody, and I just want to say thank you, Addie, for those nice words, and it's nice to get over here. Now, I'm going to lighten things up just a little bit. I'm going to talk about a few things maybe that haven't been brought up yet in some of the presentations. And you're right, I am from North America. I live in British Columbia, Canada, and I was very lucky to be able to drop into Cape Town. I spent about a week and a half here on a tour with Omar. I saw some really nice shops. I got to see some beautiful country, and very, very nice country. And you guys have incredible shops. I was very, very impressed. Now, like a lot of you, I got my start at a very young age in high school. My textbooks were filled full of Hot Rod magazine. I spent all my time just thinking about cars. My friends, we worked on cars on the weekend. And I want to share with you a little bit about that passion that we all had when we got started, that if you talk to some of the younger people now, I think we've lost some of that passion. So my presentation is going to be more about just how are we going to get those young people to think about what we can do in the industry again. When I got started, we had a 4-year apprenticeship program. So it's a Red Seal program in Canada. You go to school for 5 weeks out of the year. We do that for the 4 years. That meant everything to me when I first started out. In high school, I wasn't the best student. In high school, I sloughed off. Nothing was really that important. But as soon as I found a passion for something that I believed in, I found that I really want to make the effort to do that. And that's the kind of passion I'm hoping that we can, if I look around the room, I don't see a lot of young people here. We're all old like me. And we need to find those young people and get them involved again. Now, I worked in that shop for about 10 years, and I had the opportunity to be able to buy the shop, and I owned the shop for about 24 years. And so the gentleman that I worked for and how I got started was I actually had went to go pick up an engine. I'd worked all summer long to be able to save up enough money to go buy an engine for my car. And he said to me, he goes, when I went to go get the engine, the bill was a lot more money than I had. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a spot in the disassembly area. How about you come over and we'll get you started? And that's kind of how I got started in the business. So I had the shop for about 24 years, and I got started with AERA, which is an association in North America that's very similar to the ERA. We represent engine builders worldwide with technical specifications. That's basically what we do. And I had the opportunity in 2001 to be able to get on the board of directors with AERA, and I served as a board chairman in 2007. And what I would encourage all of you is that if you have the opportunity to be able to serve on one of your local associations as a board member, I'd really encourage that. It's a great opportunity. I know those that I've met throughout the years that have been on the board. Not only are you going to learn more about your association and your industry, but it's the lifelong friendships that you'll gather and those contacts that you'll have around the world that's really important. So if that opportunity does come up to you where you can serve on your board, by all means, yes, it takes a little bit of time, but I would fully encourage you to look at doing that. So just like I mentioned, just like ERA and RMI, we've been around a long time, since July 1st of 1922. And I wanted you to look at this picture here. This is a newsletter from 1926. And if you look at these gentlemen that are sitting around the tables, this is no different than what we're doing right now. Back then, they created an opportunity to be able to network, just like what ERA has done for us here today. And the other thing that I would encourage you to do is that probably just like these people were doing back then, rub shoulders with the person beside you. Get to know the person beside you. That's where we're going to learn. It's this interaction that we share amongst each other that we're going to take back with us, and this is something we're going to learn. Yes, we're going to go out to the show floor and we're going to learn something from the presentations, but take that minute to get to know somebody around you We all share the same challenges. We've all got the same, same issues in the shop. If we can take something back with us Monday morning, get rejuvenated, and have one idea that we can take back to the shop with us Monday morning, then that's a success. Right now, like Addie mentioned, we're in Chicago, Illinois. There's 4 of us. What we do, like I say, our association, we're about technical specifications and information. There's 4 of us that work on the tech line, and just like any of you that have worked for a nonprofit, we all wear many hats. So we're not just about what we do all day long, but it is about technical information for us, and that's what we do. Our shops in North America, very similar to yours. Other than what I've learned about your shops here is that typically our membership is 3 to 5 employees. So we're relatively small. It's not uncommon to see a machine shop of ours to be in a parts store. So it's a small operation. Our shops are fairly small. The one thing too that I've noticed that's a little bit different from the shops here, almost all of us got started because of some sort of performance. We are very, very into performance in North America. We're also very lucky to have school members. AERA, we work very closely with the universities and the tech schools so that we can introduce a program to help them get trained and again, use it as a feeder system to get into our industry. No different than you, like I say, our shops are full of work, heavy duty, custom work, but performance work. It's not uncommon if you go to any of the shops that you come to North America, you will see that there's usually a dyno, some sort of performance, and that's where we got our roots. Vintage and classic is another big one that for us in North America. Again, pretty much anywhere you go on our streets, you'll find something to do with performance or some sort of racing. We have heavy duty shops as well. Now the one thing that's not much different again from the shops that I came to see is we've had to learn how to diversify. We can't rely on building those 350 Chevys that we used to build by the hundreds anymore. We had to learn to take the tooling and equipment that we have and how are we going to make money with it doing something different. So whether you're spinning a water pump impeller in your crankshaft balancer, maybe you've got a motorcycle head in your flow bench where you used to have a 500 cubic inch, Big Chief cylinder head in there. Again, you had to learn how to adapt, how to diversify, basically survive. What are we going to do with our tooling, with our shop, and figure out a way to make it work. Anything to go fast, whether it be diesel or petrol, is big in our, for our shops. The one nice thing that our shops, again with this diversification, was the introduction of compact diesel work. So the Yanmars, the Kubotas, the Deutz, we had the tooling already. They have valve guides, they have seats, they have all the stuff that we were all tooled up ready to do already. This is good money for us. This is something that we could adapt to and do fairly easily. All we needed were the specifications to do that and a parts manufacturer to do that. So this is good work for us. And again, these customers are great to deal with. They want it now. They're not bickering about price. They just want it. Now, if you'd come to me about 10 years ago and said that you're going to start working on motorcycles, that you're going to put a ski on the front, a track on the back, and you're going to do engine work for those, and you're going to modify them, and you're going to make them go faster, I probably would have said you're crazy. I would have said that that's not happening. Probably similar to some of the stories we're listening to some of the people, about Omar mentioned about, will you fax me something? Well, again, this is big work for us. This is something that we've had to adapt to in our shops, and it's great work because these are the kinds of customers, they will park their truck for the week so they can go play with their toys on the weekend. So again, it's really good work. Our shops are also full of failures. As long as people are not changing their oil and doing what they're supposed to, again, our shops still have that kind of mess that we get to deal with on a daily basis. High performance, everybody knows if you want to go fast, sooner or later you're going to pay the price. So it is going to blow up, and so we have that also. So lots of work for us there as well. Now, one of our biggest challenges in North America is there's lots of work. There's plenty of work to do. We've got nobody to do the work. None of our younger generation is getting into this industry. And we're trying to look at why. So we put some stats together, and right now in our industry, the average age is 50 years old. And when I look around the room, I can see possibly in this area that we're probably amongst the same statistics. Now, that's not that scary. I mean, 50 years old, we still got, 20 years left in us. We can still probably torque up a set of head bolts on a big diesel 6-cylinder engine of some sort. But what's scary to me is looking at where we are at 18 to 24 years old at 1.6%, 25 to 34 years old at 10.2%. That's nearly as much as what we're seeing as a 65 years old and older at 7.9. So again, where are the young people? Why are they not getting into our industry? And what are we doing about it? And that's a red flag for us. That's a big concern, because it's those young people that are going to take over our shops one day. It's those young people that we need to hire. Our bodies aren't going to allow us to do this until we're 95 years old. It's just not feasible. So again, what are we doing to get the young people involved? Is it because of pay? And I would say, from what I've learned just from my own family, it's not. My daughter, she's just finished 4 years of university. She's got a really good job. She's making $45,000 US a year in the medical industry. $75,000 she spent on university. My son is the absolute opposite. He is a first-year apprentice at one of the local garages. He's doing his apprenticeship. He's making $60,000 a year pulling wrenches. So, I mean, it's a great family rivalry, because she spent a lot of time in university and he's already kicking her butt with what he's making in the shop. So where have we gone wrong as parents? And again, when I look at this, and I was no different. So when my kids were younger, I was like, go be a doctor. Go do something. Don't bust your knuckles like I did, get all dirty. But that's the wrong mentality. That really, truly is, that's our fault. We have not instilled in our kids that it's okay to get your hands dirty for a living. It's okay to be a tradesperson, whether you're a plumber, electrician, a journeyman mechanic. We need these people. The money's good. And a lot of you know that when you start working on these vehicles now, we're not grease monkeys like it used to be. I mean, that used to be our stereotype, that we were all grease monkeys. But you go work on some of these late model engines or late model vehicles, by far are we grease monkeys. I mean, this stuff is complicated, and there's a lot to it now. So one of the programs that we have in the US that's pretty cool, it's a program, they're a nonprofit association called the Hot Rodders of Tomorrow. And what this group has done is they've gone to the high schools, and they've got kids together from grades 10 to grade 12, and they're asking them, do you want to enter an engine competition? And of course, the kids are like, anything to get out of school. Yeah, pick me, pick me. So they're taking small block Chevys. This is started at a regional level, and they teach the kids how to take these engines apart and how to put them back together again. And from there, if they do well with regional competition, they go to a state competition. From state, they go to national. And so national competition, so our finals will be at the Apex SEMA show coming up here in the next month or so, as well as the PRI show in December. What a cool program. I mean, this is getting kids now excited about taking engines apart, putting them back together, and these kids are good. These kids can whip a small block Chevy apart in approximately 23 minutes. So the skill level's there. And what's really cool is when I go into them, because I get to go to the competitions and talk to them, I get the sense that they do want to enter our industry, and they're excited about it, and they're passionate. And so that's what we want. Now, if I was excited about the big kids, these guys have also got a program for the small kids. And these small kids are taking apart 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engines, and they're doing competitions as well. So 5 to 7 years old, these kids are taking apart the engines. And what not a perfect age, for those kids to get involved in our industry. These kids then get to take the engines, they put them back together, and they put them in a junior dragster, and these kids get to go to the drag strip for the day and actually drive the junior dragster down the track. It's that kind of stuff that we got to think about to get the young people involved. That's the kind of stuff that we're trying to do. Now, education, something that excites me here, that as the more I talk to some of the people here, is that you guys do have quite a bit of technical training for your industry in South Africa. And we're working to get there. We've lost a lot of the technical schools like that Federal had, Sun had, and so we're trying to, we have our own program, our own online training program, but we don't have any hands-on skill programs that someone in the shop can go to, let's say for just maybe a week to learn about some technical training. Ours are more based where they're university level, or college level, but this is before you're even, before you're even working in a shop. As an association, we're working with our members to provide grants and scholarships to be able to, be able to have people come to these types of things. So as an example, our members, we would help you by coming to a trade show like this. We have scholarships to be able to help you do that. And again, why is because we recognize the value that we'll get by having everybody here, learning from each other, and again, trying to educate and further yourself. We have a training program as well. The schools are using this program, and the reason why is that our programs in the North America, the school programs, if you're in, let's say, the automotive service field, they're cutting the programs shorter and shorter. More time for alignment, more time for for transmission, but they're shortening the window for engine. Engine seems to be, again, I guess they're looking at like it's just, the mechanics, you're just going to just replace that engine with something used, or you're not, who pulls a head off anymore? It's just unheard of. So what we've done with the schools, we said, fine, if you're going to shorten the program, let us use our program in your curriculum, and you get the kids to do that on their own time so that it frees up more time in the shop. And again, so that's what kids want. Kids don't want to sit in the classroom and learn all day long. They want to get in the shop, and they want to be able to have hands-on experience. So we have an engine certification program. There's a cylinder head program and an engine machinist program, and we do that in-house as well. Now, something we're excited about this year, and we just achieved this about a month before I came here, is that we finally have reached 10,000 engines in our specification software. And we've got a lot of you to thank for that. A lot of you know when you crack open a manual or specifications book and you're looking for a valve stem height, it's just not there. You're looking for a main housing bore, it's not there. So we rely on our members to help get us that information that we need so that we can pass it on to everybody else. So we've got a specification software. There's 10,000 engines from 190 manufacturers. What's really nice about me coming to areas like this is it really helps us wrap my head around what you have for vehicles. It's totally different in North America. Our Ford Ranger looks completely different than yours. A lot of our vehicles are totally different. The engines are different. So again, talking to you and learning from you as to what you need for information, and for having you get back to us as to what you need for information is really, really important. We write all of our own technical bulletins. Again, we listen to all of you as to the kind of problems that you're having in the shop and what you need for help with those engines. We also are doing a lot of procedures now with our software. We understand that when you look at a lot of these complicated timing diagrams and that kind of stuff that you have now, there's no more just looking at one image to put a lot of these things back together. Everything's a step-by-step procedure, and we're trying to get that more into our information that we're doing. Again, like I mentioned, technical bulletins. The idea, when you're stripping an engine, we're really trying to enforce the technicians to go over to the computer, figure out what's wrong with this engine before you even take it apart. We don't want a failure. We don't want to see a warranty. It's most important to be able to know what's going wrong. Okay, for those of you that are using our program, and I thought I would just use this real quick to show you, only because I can't get to every shop everywhere. So for those of you that have Process Pro that you're using, this is a pretty cool feature that we just started. It's a parts feature where, let's say you go into Process Pro and you're looking up a John Deere 4239T engine. Once you're there, rather than now figuring out what you need for parts for that engine and go to another browser or go and open your catalog, what you can do now is simply click on the parts feature, and it's going to take you right to that parts manufacturer's link for the 4239T John Deere or whatever engine that you happen to have open. Again, just another time-saving feature. Again, those of you that are using Process Pro, by all means use that feature because it's very quick and it's going to save you a bunch of time. Okay, I am very fortunate to be able to go around to a lot of different shops, and when I do, I hear this all the time. And just like I talked about before, where's the young people? There's nobody. I've tried finding young people. Nobody wants to work here. I can't find anybody. The kids today, they're lazy. They're just useless. So I kind of look around sometimes and I go, man, it's dark. It's dirty. Looks like your honing oil hasn't been changed for about 7 years. It stinks. equipment doesn't look like it's very well maintained. If I'm 18 years old, I don't think I'd want to work here either. It doesn't look that exciting to me. So having this conversation only because if I'm 18 years old and I'm on my phone and I look up engine rebuilding, that's what I see. I mean, that's what comes up. I mean, that's not reality. I mean, I would love to work there. That looks like a pretty cool shop, for sure. But that's not reality, of course. But where I'm going with this is that as kids, if you are looking for young people eventually to take over your business, you're going to have something that's appealing to them. Kids aren't all about money. It's not all about the money, at least in North America. You know, they want to know that there's maybe some advancement at some point. Maybe they're going to be the ones to take over the business at some point. But it's got to be appealing. There's got to be a reason for them to come there. There's got to be a reason for them to stay there. Okay, exit strategy. This is the other thing that I hear when I go into the shops all the time is that, well, because there's no young people, I'm going to be here till I'm 90 years old and no one's ever going to buy my business. I'm going to have to auction all my equipment off. And of course, any of us that are in the association industry, we don't want to hear that. Anybody that's in this industry, we don't want to hear that at all. We want this industry to continue and go on. And it's great if you've got kids, let's say, that can get into the industry and take over the shop for you. But my point here is where I'm going with this is, have you made a plan? Have you thought about, that one day when you're not going to be able to do this anymore? And let's be honest, when we all got started, we were that guy. We thought, when we turn 55 or whatever age it's going to be, we're going to be that guy. We're going to be out fishing and having a good time. And that's great if you made that plan, but I guess think about it. It's like nobody wants to think of death as an example, but we have a will. That's because at some point we made a plan. We were planning for that day. And a lot of us as owners, again, I don't think we're, as much as I'm a shop person and I love working in the shop, can't do it forever. So think about that. There are ways out there. There's employees. Example, my shop, when I sold it to a 20-year employee. And as long as you have a plan, you can groom the right person. It's an option. We might be that person one day in that boat, someday, hopefully. So thank you, everybody. That's my WhatsApp number. Again, I love talking shop. I can talk all day long, but if anybody is come to North America, by all means, please drop by. I'd love to show you some of the shops there. And thank you for your hospitality, and thanks again. Thank you, sir. Oh, appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob Munro. He must be the youngest 50-year-old between all of us here today. Is it not so? And I can tell you why. He's got I know this because he told me this on the bus. I think we were in Frankfurt. And he told me, I've got a office treadmill. And as I take tech calls, I'm actually stepping and walking. And that's what Rob does, to stay young. So Rob, in any case, thank you so much for the good words. I know we got to invest in our youth. And I think that's something apparent that came out almost from all the speakers. So I think we got to take that to heart and we got to do something about it.